You ever have someone lie straight to your face, even when you know the truth? My Lyft driver swore he didn't have my AirPods. 2 weeks later, I found him using them at Chuck E. Cheese with his family. Yeah. This one still makes me laugh. If you've ever lost something and wished karma worked faster, hit that like button, because this story proves that sometimes you don't need karma. Sometimes you are karma. It started like any other weekend trip. I was visiting friends in another city. We hit a few bars, told old stories, laughed way too hard. You know how it goes. It was late when we decided to call it a night. I ordered a lift back to my buddy's apartment. I remember the driver middle-aged, quiet, polite, nothing unusual. I was in that tipsy, half-tired state where you don't double-check everything you're carrying. Big mistake, because somewhere between that back seat and the next morning, my AirPods disappeared. You know that sinking feeling? When you pat your pockets once, then twice, then you start tearing your bag apart, like maybe they rehearsed hiding. Yeah, that feeling. I realized it the next morning. I sent in the lost item report through the app immediately. A few hours later, the driver messaged me back. Calma Scanby. Sorry, man. I checked. Didn't find anything in the car. I wanted to believe him. I really did. But something about it felt off. You just know when something doesn't sit, right? That quiet little voice in your gut saying, asterisk, check again, asterisk. Still, I tried to let it go. It was just a pair of AirPods. Annoying, but replaceable. Or so I thought. A day later, I got a notification. Your AirPods have been located. And there it was. That little green dot. On Find My, they were alive. Charging and moving all over the city. You ever get that chill of realization when your stomach tightens and your pulse starts pounding behind your ears? That's what I felt. Because those AirPods weren't lost, they were being used. Every few minutes, I'd check again, and I could literally watch the dot move like a GPS breadcrumb trail. Gas stations, downtown, suburbs, back again. Exactly what a Lyft route looks like. I wasn't angry yet. I was in that cold, silent disbelief. Did this guy really think I wouldn't notice? I gave it a few days, hoping maybe it was a glitch. Maybe someone else found them. But no. The pattern was too clear. The thief wasn't some random stranger. It was him. For the next week, I kept checking in on the location. There's a strange kind of frustration that builds when you can see your stolen item but can't reach it. Every little movement made my blood boil. It was like watching someone eat your leftovers, bite by bite, while you stood outside the window. Then one day, I saw it again. He was still using them. Still charging them. Still lying. And that's when the switch flipped. I wasn't going to just let it go. If fate was going to give me a GPS tracker, I might as well use it. 2 weekends later, I went back to that city to hang with the same friends. But this time, I had a little side mission. I opened Find My, and sure enough, there it was. The dot was blinking in real time, right in the middle of a Chuck E. Cheese parking lot. It was almost poetic. Of all places to confront a thief at Children's Pizza Arcade. My heart was racing. Part of me thought, asterisk. This is crazy, asterisk. The other part of me, the angry, betrayed part said, asterisk. No, this is justice, asterisk. We pulled into the parking lot, scanning for cars that matched his Lyft profile. And then boom, there it was. The same make, model, and license plate I remembered. I couldn't believe how fast my adrenaline kicked in. My palms were sweaty, my throat tight, but underneath it all, I was calm, focused. I walked up to the security guard near the entrance and explained everything. I showed him the Find My location, a photo of the driver from my ride receipt, and the movement log. The guard looked skeptical at first, but once he saw the proof, he nodded slowly and said, yeah, that guy's inside with his family. I swallowed hard. My heart was hammering so loud I could feel it in my fingertips. He radioed another guard and said, let's bring him out. A few minutes later, out comes the Lyft driver, same face. Same expression only this time. He looked nervous. His wife and 2 kids trailed behind him, holding their leftover pizza and stuffed animals. I almost felt bad. Almost. The guard pointed at me. "It's the guy." The driver looked at me, then at the ground. "Yeah, that's me." I stepped forward. Calm. Controlled. "You stole my AirPods?" he stammered. "What? No, I don't." I didn't. I pulled out my phone and held it up. The Find My screen was still open. The dot was right where we stood. "Then why are they here?" His face turned pale. His kids looked confused. And for a moment, he hoosed frusi. Then, silently, he reached into his pocket, pulled out the AirPods, and put them back in their case. No excuses. No drama. Just quiet shame. He handed them over, eyes down. The security guard crossed his arms, glaring. His family slowly walked back toward the car, not saying a word. And me. I just stood there, holding the case, feeling that surge of cold, sweet satisfaction. When he handed me those AirPods back, it wasn't just about getting my stuff. It was about taking back my power. The power he thought he could just steal and lie about. And watching him face that quiet humiliation in front of his family, that was better than any refund. As they drove off, my friends just looked at me. One of them said, "Dude, that was the most awkward crime scene ever." We all burst out laughing, the tension finally breaking. Because really, what else could you do? I felt a twinge of guilt seeing his kids watch that go down. But then again, maybe they needed to see what happens when you lie and steal. That moment probably taught them more about honesty than any lecture ever could. You know, I used to think revenge had to be dramatic, fiery speeches, grand but this was quiet, factual, unavoidable. There was no yelling, no threats, just truth and consequences. And honestly, that made it so much better. I didn't ruin his life. I didn't get him fired. I just made sure he couldn't get away with pretending to be a good guy while stealing from someone who trusted him. Sometimes, justice doesn't need a hammer. Sometimes, it just needs find my iPhone and a little courage. The truth always finds a way out sometimes. Literally, with GPS coordinates. So if someone has ever wronged you, don't rush your revenge. Wait, watch. And when the moment comes, let karma borrow your hands. If this story made you smile, smash that like button. It really helps the channel grow. And tell me in the comments, what would you have done if you caught someone using your stolen air? Subscribe for more true stories of justice, karma, and the occasional dose of petty revenge.